Yeah, welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern and talk about guns for an hour. So, trying to do the show as often as possible. Got some links out there, and tonight we'll be doing some shopping. So, if you want to jump in, links over on Gun Channels, just let us know. Otherwise, if no one's going to join us tonight, we'll be listening to Cheryl Todd talking with Walk the Talk America and Zephyr Wellness. Let's see. This is from the 30th. Mike Sedini and Jake. Somebody talk about the inspiration behind the programs that bring mental health professionals and firearms culture together. So I didn't get to listen to this one yet today. It looks like it's an hour and 45 minutes long. Don't know how long I'll be chopping here, but maybe get some stuff. So I'll be playing this.
Hey everybody, Cheryl Todd here from Gun Freedom Radio, and I am super excited to have had just a unique opportunity recently, to sit down in a workshop, a classroom with the two guests that I have on today. There was a couple of other people there, but we weren't able to connect with them, so we are going to just kind of launch in with Michael Sodini. He's the founder of Walk the Talk America, WTTA, a nonprofit that funds research and development for outreach and promotion of mental health to reduce the misconceptions and prejudices that exist when it comes to mental illness and firearms. The WTTA team believes that they can be a catalyst for change by working with experts in the mental health industry. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks for having me, Cheryl, and thanks for attending the workshop last week. So that was awesome.
Oh, it just honestly blew me away. I can't wait to dive into this conversation also with Jake Wiskerson.
Pretty close.
Close?
Wiskerson.
Okay, I even practiced that. He's the co-owner, and chief clinical officer at Zephyr Wellness, a mental health outpatient practice in Northern Nevada. Jake and the mental health professionals at Zephyr take pride in finding non-traditional approaches to bringing help to those who seek help. And I believe that this cultural competency, cultural awareness kind of workshop that you gentlemen brought together in Reno, Nevada last week is, I mean, the perfect example of something that's non-traditional and that nobody else is doing. Welcome to the program, Jake.
Thanks, Cheryl. I appreciate it. And I think that when we talk about what non-traditional means, I mean, our tagline is innovative and philanthropic, and I think this fits both of those premises. Innovative meaning we're doing something nobody's ever done before, and philanthropic in that we're partnering with Walk the Talk America to keep costs down so that our clinicians as well as the community can learn about whatever it is that we're bringing to them. We do a lot more in the community too, and I can talk about that if you like.
Absolutely. So just to bring folks up to speed, the people missing are Rob Pincus, who is one of the board members of WTTA and a firearms expert who was at the class, and then the owners of the Reno Guns and Range that hosted this event. And I, being able to interact with, this is a woman-owned gun store and gun range. Her son was very interactive with the workshop, the class that we attended. And I was so impressed with what a sense he had for the need for this cultural awareness type workshop, and the input that he offered. Because for me, I occupy sort of a unique space in this firearms industry. My degrees are in psychology, but my husband and I own AC Firearms, a gun store, and then we have this radio show. But to listen to the owner of Reno Guns and Range, I was really impressed with, as far as I know, he doesn't have any degrees in psychology, but he seemed to really understand his his customer base and some of the issues out there. So I thank both of them for what they brought to the table, and it's unfortunate that they couldn't join us on this recording. So just quickly, Michael, if you could take a second and just kind of bring us up to speed on how did you assemble this workshop that we had an opportunity to enjoy the other night?
Well, I would say there's two steps to it. The first one was this book by Pirelli. It's The Behavioral Science of Firearms. It deals with the mental health perspective of guns, suicide, and violence. It's a Bible. And I think Jake can attest to this. This has been our Bible for the last year. Because when we first looked into this whole concept, and Rob and I were working hard to find something to reference, that's what we found. And inside there, Pirelli makes some good recommendations about how to kind of bridge the gap between mental health professionals and people in the 2A community. You know, so we had the idea in our head, and then I ended up on Jake's show, which is called Noggin Notes, and I think the connection was through the owner of Reno Guns and Range. Am I right, Jake? Like,
yeah. Just to be clear, so Debbie Block owns Reno Guns and Range. Her son Jordan Slotnick manages it. He's the general manager. Jordan and I go back 17 years or something like that, and we were just rapping about different ways we can connect the firearms community and mental health community in some sort of meaningful way. And he said, "Have you ever heard of Walk the Talk America?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Check them out." So I checked it out, and I sent an email to Walk the Talk America, and it turns out it was you who responded. And
Yeah, so nobody's joining in tonight. It's being another boring night. Yeah, I had all this heat, I guess, and then rain came along out of nowhere and blew a bunch of the roof off. So I got a bunch of water damage and got to fix some roof stuff. So it looks like probably about $260. I can probably source some of that stuff in town. A lot of times you can buy that stuff used, but I don't think I'll be buying it used right after a big rainstorm came through. Everybody will be buying that stuff up in the morning. But even buying it premium in town, I'll probably buy about the same price, $260. I can put that on a Home Depot credit card. But yeah, that's frustrating. So that's one of the things I needed to shop for. Kind of boring without anybody here to chat with. So I'll probably shut it down sooner than later. Bug everybody. Yeah, pickup process or graphics. Oh yeah, you can. Look at that. So, what is the name of this fucking thing over here? What's the name of that thing? XSplit? I guess I don't have it on my main shit yet. It'll come up and yell at me about what GPU or whatever the fuck I need. Log in again. You don't remember my login shit? Alright. Alright, I'll put back on the podcast.
we were off and running after that.
yeah, so I joined the show. Jake and I got along. We just kept in touch. And the more we talked, the more we understood that we both have a drive to give back to the community. You know, I always say this, a lot of the stuff we do it for free. There's not a lot of people that would put the time and energy that both Jake and I and Rob Pincus, you know, it's about making Earth better. It's about making the community better. And that was a great thing. It's like, I said to Jake, like, what if we did this? Because now I have a mental health professional that wants to actually work. Just like I have Rob Pincus, who's a firearms expert that wants to work for something good. So I put the three of us, you know, we were like, hey, why don't we do it in Reno? You know, and obviously being connected by Reno Guns and Range, it worked out perfectly. So that's how we got here. You know, we took Pirelli's idea and we actually made something of it, an actual course.
Now, normally it would yell at me about my GPU or whatever, complaining that I don't have a good enough thing. Of course, it's not complaining this time. So I'll just try opening it again, see what happens. Alright, it wants to make changes, yeah, that's fine. According to Dead Horse, we won't be able to use this tomorrow. Here we go. Gotta do some sort of a screen capture of this. You are running on an Intel HD, a dedicated NVIDIA or Radeon class is recommended. So, where the hell did this go? Alright, a damn it. So, grab this from a screenshot of the desktop. Grab that little piece. And now it says we need I'll stick this over here so I can still see it. Close this. Alright, so I need a NVIDIA or there's a shit ton of NVIDIAs though. I need an NVIDIA or Radeon class. It's Radeon. Here, if I got just want to say Radeon. I don't know which ones of these are good. So I'll just click on all the Radeons, I guess, and all the NVIDIAs. So my problem is I can't run this new fucking software because it doesn't like my old shitty graphics card. So if I can click a shit ton of these NVIDIAs, then I'll see what all. I don't like how they're up to $1,000 over here. NVIDIA, some of these got to be cheaper. Go over and see if anybody's saying anything about this stuff. Radeon. I hit all the Radeons except for that R7. I'll hit that R7. There's one NVIDIA still in here. Alright, so that's a bunch. And then shit, it's low to high. Oh, there's a $400 one. So maybe I get this $400 thing. See what that's all about. Otherwise it jumps to 7. What the fuck is so good about these things? Maybe if I get rid of the 16 gigs, that was making it expensive. Oh yeah, now they're down to $300. So 8 gigs of RAM. It's like 9mm of RAM. It's bullshit. Alright, well, so it looks like there's one for $238. 308. I don't know shit about these, so let's see if anybody's saying anything. I don't have insurance for that kind of shit, so I don't have a big tree anyway. We don't have trees out here. Needs tarp and plywood. No, I'm just getting tar and fabric that you smush down. There's this tar paper type of roof with paint, so it just got ripped up and wind caught it, got underneath and water got in there and ruined a bunch of shit. So it just needs to be kind of patched and painted. But like I say, about $200 worth of shit, it looks like. The rest of the stuff I probably have here, I think. Maybe a couple of cans of that spray foam to fill in the voids. So now I'm looking at this laptop. Nobody saying anything about that, so I'll take back into the laptop and I'll turn back on the podcast here I'm listening to.
It's wonderful. So Jake, can you kind of talk to us about who were the attendees at this? And this was the inaugural. This was like the first pancake, right? Like, let's see what it looks and feels and sounds like. But so often the first pancake is a little bit wonky. This was not at all, from my experience, wonky. I thought it was very well thought out and presented. But who were the attendees?
I appreciate you saying that. I think for us who pulled it off, we have a bit of cleanup to do. There was a bit of a timing issue. We wanted 3 hours. We ended up going a little long because there's just boundless content to cover. So what it did is it gave us great feedback on what the next installment is going to look like. But we have two prongs that we want to attack here. One is the mental health community, which is my people, with the clinicians who do the treatment. And that was our first target group. And so the people who attended this time around, we had 14 sign up and 11 attended. And the ones who were missing had very, very good personal reasons for missing. So I anticipate them coming back again. But we had 14 sign up. That was our capacity, was 14. So it filled up very quickly. And they were all clinicians except for you, actually. You were the only non-clinician to attend. And I appreciate your attendance because we got some great feedback from you too. So the idea is that these clinicians who possess master's level degrees and licenses from the state of Nevada would get continuing education toward their license renewal for attending this class. Now, we all have continuing education credits to do annually. Usually it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 per year. So for every hour of contact, you get 1 credit. This would be 3 credits. And this education was designed to develop cultural competence of the firearms community. Because too often, we in the mental health profession don't understand and or are willfully ignorant of the firearms community. And yet we've got about roughly 50% of America, based on a few research poll from a year and a half ago, that suggests people either own a gun or live with somebody who owns a gun. So that's roughly 50% of our clientele who could be walking in the door and is frankly skittish about what counseling entails and whether or not we're going to suddenly pick up the bat phone to call CPS because they have kids and guns in the home because we're ignorant of what that means, or that they could possibly lose their gun rights because they're struggling with a mental illness of some sort. The second prong we want to attack is the gun community itself. So firearms owners are also, like I said, they're a bit skittish about what mental health treatment looks like. So that'll be another installment of the courses that we plan to do, which is to demystify the counseling process in and of itself, so we can invite people in and know that there's a warm, safe, welcoming environment where they can express what they need to express, go through their emotional struggles, stabilize their psychological well-being, and go about their business, heal, and don't have to worry about having their rights seized from some arm that reaches into my office and takes their information or whatever.
Absolutely, well said. And so how big of a part of the class and how big of an impact would you say, Michael, was the physical tools that Rob Pincus brought into the classroom to explain the functionality of the guns themselves and the questions that bubbled up?
Listening to Gun Freedom Radio over on Gunstreamer. And I invited a bunch of people again, but nobody jumps in anymore. So this will probably be the evening shows like this one. And I've just been listening to that podcast as I'm looking to see how much the roof stuff is going to cost and then how much a laptop might be with the graphics card that can handle this new live streaming stuff. Looks like $450 without touchscreen. Really like this touchscreen, but I can't get the damn thing to search for touchscreens again. So Search the damn thing over again.
From,
Oh, and then Han said something about donate a something card. I don't know what that card is. GTX. It says it needs an NVIDIA or a Radeon. Oh no, you said NVIDIA. Okay. But the thing is, I'm not building another computer. Got laptops, and I don't have a place for a regular computer, and I go places with my computer, so can't go with building one like that again.
that piece of the class.
I think it had a big impact. I thought there were some great questions asked. I remember one gentleman asked, he kind of said, that gun looks really scary compared to the other ones, which those are the questions. That's what we want, right? We want those questions to be asked where people are not ashamed. They come forward. There's no stupid question. This is the communication breakdown usually between a non-gun community person and, someone who's deep into the 2A, Second Amendment, groups, is that they can't have these conversations that educate. And
Figured this dedicated graphics card is probably the same as saying a good one. So,
this is what this provided, was the opportunity for some mental health professionals to ask questions where there wasn't going to be an argument. There wasn't going to be well, you just don't understand me, I'm not going to communicate, walk away. So I think I think it had a huge impact. I know a few of the people had never shot, or, maybe a couple of them had shot a couple times, but never really, taken a serious course with a lot of shooting.
I'm about to kick Amazon search in the nuts because it sucks butt. And search for shit. It just keeps going back to a laptop every time I search for stuff with this shitty Dell in the front. $45 bullshit $45 laptop. Let's take a look at Newegg.
And when we were kind of debriefing after, because we were going up in different groups, right, to the range, I was, the conversation, and what Rob missed out on, which was a shame, because he was on the firing line there, is the conversations that I heard, especially when you were there, Cheryl, and Jake. Those were awesome. I mean, that was really a huge part for me, because I saw people working through what was happening. And I remember one kid said, man, I'm still shaky and nervous. And those are the things that I love. Like that it was a real working example in real time for me to sit there and watch a bunch of mental health professionals kind of ask questions, go back and forth. Like, I love that. That was awesome.
I agree. I think that's the sweet spot when somebody kind of expresses something like that, where they're like, I'm having some kind of an emotional reaction to this, whether I'm excited, whether I'm nervous, with something. I think that's when you know that they are absorbing some new piece of information in wrestling with how to place it in their paradigm. Jake, back to you. So why do you think that there is such a gap? I mean, psychologists are amazing at being able to enter another person's experience in whatever walk of life they come from, and then sit down on the sofa and we get out our Freud pipe and do our thing, right? But why do you believe there is this divide or this lack of understanding that you gentlemen are now trying to bridge when it comes to just this one particular tool?
I gotta be honest, I wish I knew. I could speculate and probably offend a lot of people in my speculation, so I'm not gonna do that.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I just don't know. I know that demographically, most mental health professionals tend to lean left, and people who are on the left hand of the political spectrum tend to be gun opponents, or at least gun resistant. So there's that. I mean, there's just a cultural piece there that we're missing. But here's what stymies me. As we go through school for counselor education, we we are taught to be ever evolving in our thinking, our belief systems, and our integration of theoretical modalities, how we treat people and how we interact with them, and the lens through which we view their struggles. We're supposed to be constantly training and constantly flexible and nimble to emerging trends and emerging theories and research. And yet I find repeatedly over the last 7 years that I've held a license, and that includes spending 3 years on my licensing board, 2 of which as board chair in the state of Nevada. I found repeatedly that the people just don't embrace that. They like what they like, and then they dig their heels in. And I find that professionally offensive, but darn if it doesn't happen. And I gotta believe that gun culture is just one of those topics that people categorize for whatever reason they categorize it and then don't move off it. And I think we do that with a lot of different things. I think we do it with spirituality and religion. I think we do it with all sorts of cultural competencies. We get familiar, we get into our comfort zones, and then we don't break from them, which is exactly the antithesis of what we should be doing as clinicians, because we're trying to get our clients to change out of their comfort zones, look at their blind spots, embrace mystery, move forward through discomfort and disequilibrium so they can grow. And yet we ourselves are resistant to that very thing. So my hope is that regardless of the etiology of it, regardless of like how it manifests or why, we can acknowledge that there is a gap, because I don't really care how we got here. All I care is that we undo it. And the fact is there is a gap. Everybody readily acknowledges it that I speak to, whether or not they're on board with the mission and the philosophy. They at least acknowledge that there's a communication problem, and then we fix it. And that's all I care about. I'm not interested in driving policy, although policy probably could help in some regard. But that's not the main thrust of Walk America. That's not the main thrust of what we're doing with these trainings. We just want a conversation, because through conversation, people evolve, people grow, and staying curious and learning about another topic is how you connect with the people who are residing in that topical area, whether it be transgender competency or spiritual understanding or gun culture. If you stay curious and continue learning more, then those parties come closer together, and as a consequence, the recipients of the care that I'm trying to give will be more likely to enter into that care and less likely to try to white knuckle it, throw on their own, and end up dying by suicide or diving into substance abuse to numb their pain.
So true. So Michael, did you have anything to add to that?
Well, okay, so there's one thing I think about all the time, and because I'm the ungunned gun guy, right? That's the name that my friends gave me. I didn't name myself that, and it just stuck. But it's cute, right? But there's a reason why they say that is because I didn't grow up around firearms. I love firearms. I love freedom. I'm a big Constitution guy. But I do understand, because I don't have a desire to go out to a range. If I'm just sitting here by myself, I never say, "Oh, I want to go shooting." And there are a lot of people who are probably like, "Oh, why would you say that?" But it's true. I find myself only going to ranges usually when I want to show one of my friends or take one of my friends shooting who wants to go shoot without pressure, right? So you're not learning from, Mr. Tactical, who's out there putting pressure on you or scaring you or that type of thing. So I think one of the biggest issues too is, if I want to learn about the gay community and I don't understand it, and I'm a mental health professional, I could go into that community and just observe or read or communicate. With firearms, if you really want to do it, you got to go out and pull a trigger, right? You have to go shoot. You have to be out there and do what is, for many, is very nerve-wracking. Jake knows that I tell the story of the first time I shot a firearm, and I faked my way through it. There was pressure on me because I had never been in that situation. No one prepared me. This is also a big part that, the problem is my family. They look back on it now, and most of these people are gone, but I'm like, they never really were big shooters either. I think that they were more into the business side. But I went through, and if it wasn't for me watching and observing and going up there and just doing what the people did, and this is wrong. I'm not recommending this. I've never faked your way through anything like that. but I had to do it, and I was freaking out. And that's the same. The people that took this course knew they were going to go shoot. They knew they were getting the best instruction from a guy like Rob Pincus, and they still were freaking out. And it's okay to freak out. And I think that there's a lot of people, we do this all the time. We kind of keep this like, yeah, I'm a tough guy, this. And we give that off to people, and they think it's okay or they don't think it's okay to say, look.
It's interesting to listen to, but it's frustrating to listen to without anybody to talk
I am
to
really
about.
scared right now. My hand is shaking, and I'm freaking out. And that's a big deal. I think it's a huge problem.
I could speak a little bit to that too, Mike, because what I do professionally is I teach a lot of emotional functioning. And what you're speaking to there is the emotion of fear. That's one of our 10 discrete emotions that we have in our brain. It tells us that there's a threat or a danger. And often that threat or danger is not physical. That tends to be the root of it historically, biologically, evolutionarily. But a lot of times fear is ideological. So the fear of having to let go of a belief in exchange for we don't know. That's a mystery. If I have to let go of my belief about a certain thing, I'm left with this vacuum, this void. And simply put, mystery is fear-provoking because we like certainty, especially here in the West. I mean, Western cultures like to know things, and we like to have answers. And so if I'm letting go of a belief in exchange for something that I don't know yet what is coming, that's very scary. It's easier just to stay where I am, convinced of what I don't know. So letting go of that just for the purpose of say, entering into, you mentioned the gay community. If I were going to go into the gay community and learn about how gay people tick, I would have to go immerse myself in it and have conversations with some of my friends and ask questions. But in doing so, I'd have to let go of what I think I know about what the gay community means. Similarly, firearms, I have to let go of what I think I know in exchange for some new information. And for most people, that's just a very difficult exercise.
I agree. And I think that what you gentlemen are putting together here is, I mean, for me, I go into legislators' offices, that sort of thing, to try to advocate for our Second Amendment rights and our freedoms. And I'm thinking, cultural competence, there's a huge lack of that with our political community as well. Politicians are making laws that affect individuals in their everyday lives with almost no understanding of what.
So I'm not looking for a new setup. I have 1, 2, 3. I guess I have 3 laptops in front of me. A fourth one that I used to use as a television died. 2 of them were just handed down or whatever to me, and I was stoked to be able to use one. It's a Dell, but it turns out it's not enough video card to work with these new streaming softwares, so it's not going to work for me. So the other one is archaic. It's very, very old, so it'll be my new television, I guess. But because the one that I have now is the only one that works with the new machine out there in the shed, I probably need another machine. So as Dave was saying, to look at this HP thing, but again, I don't need a desktop. And if I got a desktop, I don't know, I guess this is a deal, but I can't use a desktop. I have nowhere to put it, and it's just wasn't going to work for me. But if it's anything I can get with the video card, it might have to figure something out. Alright, so that was about that. So that's what I was looking at over here, and looking at these. I guess on Newegg you can only search by brand or screen size. So I started searching for Dells, and then I put in Windows 10 Pro and all those video cards that it wants, and I think that's it. So with those 2 parameters, 3 parameters, it looks like I got a bunch of these i5s, but as I look down here, they look stupid. Just looks like a dumb laptop. but that graphics card just says integrated. That doesn't give me any. It says NVIDIA NS though, 512 DDR RAM, so I don't know if that's enough or not. But it's only $222, so I don't know. I guess I'm not pull the trigger or nothing. I don't have any money anyway, but this gives me some idea, so I could find somebody. You know, we jumped in here tonight, but I'll find somebody that I can bounce this off of and see if they think this would work. You know, it looks stupid. It's only $200, and let's see. If you scroll through, they bounce up to 400 pretty quick. I haven't shopped for them in a while. So that's a bunch of laptops, $500. Looks like 500 gets you into a whole bunch of options. So anyway, $200 for the cheap one. And it's about the price of that HP thing they're recommending. That's the only HP one they had at least. Just actually got rid of my last, what do you call them? Cases, I guess. Things that not the regular computers were in. Because I have laptops and I don't want to go to a pawn shop and try to duct tape a RAM card into my laptop. I'm not in a basement and do stuff and can't use a regular computer. I need a laptop. So there's Ashley out there waving. And this is the requirement. XSplit requires dedicated NVIDIA or Radeon class GPU. So it says it's recommended. So we'll see how it works tomorrow. Because I won't have a new computer anyway. Because he doesn't have a link, that's why he's not jumping in. I just sent out links to a couple of 5 or 6 people today that I thought might be able to help out with those type of computer tips or whatever, computer shopping. And with that, we'll call it a night. So thanks everybody for showing up, and we'll continue to do the shows as possible. I don't think there's any, maybe there's something going on over at Gunshots over here. We'll find out. Oh, you know what? That horse has his evening lobby going, so that might still be going. He started it kind of later today. There you go. So if you want to jump into the lobby chat, there's links over here. And otherwise, we will see tomorrow is Caliber Corner. Nope, he doesn't do that anymore. So Skip's Tactical doesn't do it on here, but she does it on YouTube. I'm not sure if it'll be, I think it'll be Sarge, but he might have said something about not doing shows for a bit. I don't know if Yankee does a show tomorrow or not. And then Clover Tack, is it Thursday already? Clover Tack will be doing his show. And probably not be back for this show again. All right. Thanks everybody for watching and listening.